Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to call this Orangeburg County Council meeting of June 18th, 2018 to order. We're going to ask Councilman Willie B. Owens to give us the moment of thanks before we proceed.
Let us give thanks. Our Father, we come to Thee asking forgiveness for our sins and our shortcomings. We thank Thee for all those who have come out to observe Orangeburg County Council in action. We ask that you direct us and guide us in the way you have us go. When all have been said and done, we ask that you please make us accountable for our actions. These are the best and faith in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much, Mr. Owens. We hope each and every one have had the opportunity to at least look over the minutes of the June 4th meeting. And if you noted any changes, please note it. If not, please give me a motion and a second for approval of those minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the past minutes.
Moved by Mr. Willie B. Owens and second by Mr. Johnny Ravenel that the minutes of the June 4th meetings be approved as written. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposers? The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Again, we welcome you to our meetings, and most of you who, for those of you who may not have been here before, we have two portions of public comments on our meetings. We have public comments of agenda items, and we have public comments of other matters. Public comments of agenda items mean that if any items on the agenda you like to comment on, you may approach the podium and do that unless there's a public hearing on that item, and if it's a public hearing, then you will wait until that time to make your comment. The other one, if you have any comments at all that you would like to direct to council about any subject, you may do that during other comments. So the floor is now open for public comments of agenda items only.
My name is Lady Sarah Monroe.
Sarah
Monroe.
Sarah Monroe.
Yes. I live in the city of Orangeburg on Chestnut Street. And I would like to address a situation at the gateway to Orangeburg. I consider Magnolia and Chestnut as one of the gateways to Orangeburg. I have lived in that area for quite a few years, and I have, in the last several months, wasn't sure whether an oil rig was being constructed there or just what was going on. I am concerned because all this happened so quickly. It looks like oil was being thrown against the building. It looks like cars were being washed. All that water was being collected on the ground. I think someone must observe that other than me. I'm not a Claflinite. I'm not a Panther. But I know a lot of important people enter at this gateway. Someone should have spoken up. It seems like I'm the only one with the eyes. I went to city council with this. I talked to the city mayor. Dr. Tisdale spoke at City Hall last year. I happened to be there. And he was outlining some of the important plans that they're proposing for Claflin. They want to put a new gateway there. But what good is a new gateway at Claflin if someone is destroying the main gateway? A lot of important people coming to Orangeburg, especially for the commencement. Sometimes we have national campaigns. We need to recognize that we must do our part. Money is not everything. You can't allow a business to come and destroy the gateway. I'm proposing that DHEC be called in to take a look at this. Somebody knows something about this.
Councilman Owens brought that to our attention.
Okay.
We relayed that information on to the city as well as DHEC has to be involved. What she's talking about is they're washing grease containers at that location as well as cars. and it's causing like a buildup of film in the parking lot. So that has to be regulated by DHEC. DHEC would have to be the one to cause them to do that at another location or change the way in which they do that.
So deal with the business, is a business?
It's a car wash.
Car
Yes,
wash.
sir.
Okay, so that's your district.
Yeah, let me thank Ms. Monroe for complaining. I went by there and I talked to the owner, and I told him to clean it up.
There's something going on with the trucks too. I don't know what it is.
We need to do something, I agree. Thank you very much for coming.
Any other comments from anyone for anything? Again, thank you. There are no other, we will close the comment portion of our agenda, and we'll go into our regular agenda. The first item in the regular agenda is an ordinance, and this is the third reading on this ordinance. And it's an ordinance of the general fund budget to provide for appropriation for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018 and ending June 30th, 2019. Orangeburg County budget for ordinary county purposes for which the county may levy a tax to provide for the levy of taxes on all taxable personal and real estate properties, insufficient taxes to pay for the principal and interest on the outstanding indebtedness of Orangeburg County maturing during the fiscal year, and to provide for matters relating to Orangeburg County, and to provide for the expenditure of taxes and other revenues coming to the county during the fiscal year. You have heard the reading of the third reading of the budget. If anyone have any, council, anybody have any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion and a second for passage of third reading on that general budget.
Chairman, I still move that we approve the third reading on the budget.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Mr. Johnny Ravenel, second by Mr. Willie B. Owens, that we approve third reading on the general fund budget. All in favor, please say aye.
Before we carry it, may I make a remark as discussion on that?
Yes, sir.
I would like to take this opportunity to commend the finance department for their hard work with the budget. Now, dealing with the budget is never easy, and especially when you try and balance that budget as closely as possible. It took us a good while working with the finance department, but most of all, the finance department did most of the work to bring it to county council. And I just want to make, in terms of congratulations to the finance department, because you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The second one is a budget, part of the budget also, but this is an ordinance of special education budget to provide for appropriation for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018 and ending June 30th for Orangeburg Calhoun Technical College, the Orangeburg County Disability and Special Need Board, the Vocational Rehabilitation, and for other special education to provide for the levy of taxes and other revenues to the county during the fiscal year for such purpose. Can I get a motion and a second for passage on the educational budget? So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hayward Livingston, second by Mr. Bayless, that we pass third reading on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. Item number 3 is an orders, but this is the second reading, and this is an orders authorizing an amendment to those certain agreement for development of a joint county industrial park for the establishment of an economic development fund that can be used for the purpose of economic development. Administrator, for those who may not have been here for the first reading, just can give them a brief summary of that.
This is an ordinance that allows the county to recoup 20% of what it's been investing in these properties to establish an economic development fund.
Any questions from anyone? Any council members?
That's the most second reading. Second, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Mr. Harry Remley for second reading, and second by Mr. Willie B. Owens. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The next two items, which is item 4 and item 5, are second reading, but both of them related to the same project, Project Olive. Item 4 is an ordinance in second reading, an ordinance authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Orangeburg County and certain companies as sponsor and sponsors, affiliate respectively, identified collectively for time being as Project Olive, to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes, incentive, and certain special source revenue credit and other related matter. And item 5, which is just the same project, but this ordinance authorizing an amendment to the amended and reinstated agreement for development of a joint county industrial park, which was dated in May 17th of 2010, as to include this project, additional property in that for this project, and part of the joint county industrial park and other matters related thereto. So I think it's self-explanatory. If you want to add anything to that, to those 2 items.
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, if not, I would get a motion, I would ask for a motion and a second for item 4 and 5 for second reading, please.
I move that we accept this ordinance on second reading, 4 and 5.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Bayless and second by Mr. Ravenel that we accept item 4 and 5 for second reading. As read, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposers? Ayes have it, the motion is carried. Item number 6 is a statewide mutual aid agreement. The administrator, I think this is something you do all the time,
Yes,
time of year.
This statewide agreement allows us to participate in the statewide emergency services aid scenarios. So like when we have disasters, hurricanes, if we need assets, this allows us to go to the state to borrow certain pieces of equipment or request backup equipment until we could get our own in to deal with situations through disaster. This also allows the county to ask for equipment on behalf of the towns. In several occasions, we've had to request backup generators and other equipment for the towns during the hurricanes and floods that we have, and this is a critical part of the agreement that allows us to put the county back together after disaster. And I must say, in the 6 years I've been administrator, I think we've seen everything you can throw at you. We've had ice storms, floods, hurricanes, you name it. And I think we even had a verified earthquake too. So, that's I don't think nothing else is there for us to get, but we've always put the county back together in the right scenario and in the right way with the help and the leadership of our dedicated men and women for emergency services and our dedicated Orangeburg County Fire District. So we appreciate them, and this is a critical part to help them do what they do.
Thank you so much. And you've heard the explanation from the administrator and the council. Person, have any question? Hearing none?
Touching knock on wood. So
Could I get a motion and second that we pass this statewide mutual aid agreement, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move passage the statewide mutual aid agreement.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Owens and second by Mr. Bayless that we pass the mutual aid agreement as outlined. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 7 is procurement fiscal year FY 18-0615 for Matthew Industrial Park Sewer and Water Extension.
yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is bid FY 18-0615 Matthews Industrial Park Sewer and Water Extension. This is a request for bid to prepare to install 2,483 linear feet of 8-inch gravity and 10 manholes and water line 8-inch, 361 linear foot of 8-inch water line, 305 linear foot of 2.5 water line, and 15 linear foot of 2-inch water line with meters, backflow devices, and all apparatuses. The bid was held on June 11, 2018. There were 5 contractors present. The bid was advertised in Skibo and the TND. Following contract is submitted, and it's the recommendation of the county engineer, consulting engineer, and the procurement office that the bid be awarded to low bid of Port Contracting out of St. Matthews, South Carolina, in the amount of $292,930. And if you have any additional questions, I'll yield to John McLaughlin, County.
Any questions? If not, could I get a motion and second that we approve this procurement as lowest bidder and also I'll call it in state and in close to proximity of us.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ravenel, second by Mr. Wembley, that we approve the bid. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Any comments from any council members before? Anybody have anything they want to say?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I notice we have a common name in the room,
Okay,
but a different face.
that's right.
The CEO of our hospital, Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir. Mr. Williams, you have anything you would like to say to us, or you just visiting us today?
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. We appreciate all you're doing, and hopefully everything is moving in the right direction. That's all we can pray for and hope for. Any other comments from anyone else?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just like to reiterate that the renovations to council chambers that you approved 2 meetings ago, after this meeting, once we finalize the contract, will begin. So one of the next council meeting, if the time frame holds, we should be fine, but if not, we may have to do one council meeting on the 3rd floor if we run into a snag with schedule. But our goal is to get it done between council meetings.
Don't always bring down some other part of the country.
Just word out of my mouth.
Our pennies coming in terms of the pennies sales tax referendum for the last referendum.
Yes, sir. We're finalizing the audit, and then, matter of fact, the auditors are in the building as we speak, and I have a meeting with them tomorrow. Once that's completed, then we should be able to finalize that audit and then move towards bonding out hopefully within a month of closing out the audit.
You think it'll be as we had anticipated, a little lower, a little higher?
It just depends. We're still waiting on the last quarterly figures to come in. It's been sustaining itself. Now, the third penny didn't collect as much as it was because that was the one that came through the economic downturn. But the fourth penny we feel like will be all right. We think we have enough additional growth in place to sustain the figures that we base those projects off of.
You think we'll be able to start some of those projects within this year?
That's our goal. Our goal is to start some of them by November, December.
Not, thank you all so very much for attending our meeting. Thank you for your inputs, and I would entertain a motion and a second for adjournment. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hayward, second by Mr. Willie, that we adjourn. Thank you all again. Y'all have a blessed night.